The word doesn't stop for anybody. Nowadays, all of us are so busy in our lives that we ignore many things, even if when they're put on our face. We have created a wall which stops from noticing the plight of our fellow human beings. There are so many people we notice, but we have created a blockade in our minds so as not to see the plight of these people. We don't notice the rickshaw puller who has to burn his skin in intense heat just to earn 10 rupees. Or the odd child rag picker who has to collect the garbage any of us wouldn't even go near. But there are people whose condition is even worse than these rickshaw pullers. In today's fast-paced world, for these people, life has come to a standstill. They have to lead a stark life with far-fetched hopes of a better future.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time? We got
They are visible everywhere, on the streets, at every traffic signal, mosque and temple tourist site. In small villages, towns and big metropolises, India's beggars are omnipotent. People call them beggars, bhikari and mangne wala and similar adjectives. They seem to be everywhere and it looks like their number is always on an increase. According to official count, there are around 60 lakhs beggars in India. According to United Nations, India has the largest number of undernourished people in the world. The line that separates beggars from the casual goer is getting slimmer in a country where 1 in every 4 goes to bed hungry and 78 million are homeless.
होता है कभी कभी पीछे लग जाते हैं, बच्चों को ट्रेन कर रखा है जब तक मिल ना जाए पैसा तब तक पीछे भागते रहो. तो जहाँ पे रहम आना चाहिए था वहाँ पे इरिटेशन आ चुका है. और जब इरिटेशन किसी चीज़ में आ जाता है तो वो चीज़ समाज को बुरी लगने लगती है, सोसाइटी को बुरी लगने लगती है और आखिर में क्या होता है कि सोसाइटी उसको एक्सेप्ट करने से मना कर देती है. जब मना कर देगी तो जाहिर सी बात है वो लोग कहाँ जाएंगे.
All of us have grown up watching these unfortunate people. They are asking for our alms so that they can survive another day. When we were young, many of us would have been overwhelmed by sympathy, seeing the miserable condition of the beggars. But this feeling of sympathy and pity seems to disappear when we become older and so-called civilized. This feeling is replaced by hatred, distrust, and considering these people as a burden on society, forgetting that they are also the part of the society we live in. We develop sympathy towards some and disgust toward others. Finally, almost all of us suffer a sense of guilt. Guilt that makes us think, do I owe this person something which I have taken from him?
We're taught by our parents and our elders that the beggars are not deserving of our sympathy and help, as they're involved in all kinds of vicious things and so it is advisable to remain away from them. It is considered a well-known fact that many of them are thieves, criminals who make begging a racket. But we usually seem to overlook that many of these people are humans just like us, having the same kind of feelings and facing similar pain. They're all fighting an everyday battle against destiny.
In my opinion, they are not the criminals. They are the neglected. They are in need of the care and protection by the society as well as by the parents.
The situation is already bad for them. But it is made worse by some of us believing that we are actually doing a service to the society by not helping these beggars. We think that we are helping to fight this menace by not giving alms and thus discouraging begging.
All of us have heard stories about so-called rich beggars who upon their death were found to have lakhs of rupees in their coterie. Stories about beggars whose sons have BMW showrooms in suburban Mumbai. There may be truth behind some of these stories, but the bigger truth is that we have over-exaggerated such stories to satisfy our guilt conscience for not being able to help these people. There is no denying that there are some people who have made beggary their profession, but the majority of these poor souls are at the brink of starvation and have no access to the most basic amenities.
The question about these beggars is, do they really have a choice? They represent a society which is looked upon by scorn, by hatred, but they represent the poverty of our nation. These people, they really don't have any alternative except to do what they're doing, go by any means to do what they're doing.
Even the government of India considered these beggars a nuisance. According to the law book, beggary is a crime punishable under law. The definition of a beggar in law states that anyone who appears poor can be considered a beggar and hence a criminal. The anti-beggar legislation is aimed at removing the poor from the face of the city. We hear of administrative decrees which promise the rich citizens of a beggar-free India. In the new millennium, the government doesn't want them lying around, and middle class regard them as a burden on society. Probably they have forgotten that they should work to end poverty, and then beggary will cease to exist.
So you cannot categorize beggars as just one kind, one type. There are different kinds of beggars, but whatever the kind of beggars, whether children who have run away from homes, children who have been abducted, people who are physically handicapped, or those who belong to that caste, it's still it's a failure of society, basically. Failure of the state mechanism, failure of the government, that there are people who are left with no option, for whatever reason, they are left with no option but to depend upon others, fleece others for their survival. So in a way they, deserve our sympathy.